Hi, I'm Jim Knotts, President and CEO of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund. Welcome to today's virtual reading of the names. 2022 marks the 40th anniversary of the dedication of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. As part of our commemoration, we'll host an in-person reading of the names at the wall from November 7th through 10th, 2022, when all 58,281 names on the wall will be read aloud. In the lead up to that event, we'll be reading names each day online while sharing the photos of these heroes. For our daily virtual reading, the names of the service members will be read by month and day of death between the years 1956 and 1975 in alphabetical order for the given day. We apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. Know that our readers are doing their best to honor these service members. We hope you'll listen and watch each day and share with others as we remember and honor those who gave their lives during the Vietnam War.
Joseph Alfred Albertini, Gale Arthur Aldridge, David Brantley Altman, Thomas Edward Anderson, George Roland Anderson, Robert Dale Anderson, Frank Alton Armstrong III, Gabriel Baca, Raymond Bailey, James Edward Biggs, Bruce Edward Bolts, Irvin Lester Bauer Jr., James Albert Brinkotter, Gary H. Brooks, Danny Dale Burkhead, Robert Jean Burlingham, James Loa Booson, Bruce Lee Carty, Paul Roland Carson, Peter Brown Cook Jr., Isaac Joseph Corbett, Johnny Ray Crawford, Wendell Paul Curry, Charles William Davis, Thomas Dean, Earl Dingle, Robert Lee Duncan, Ernie John Elfenbein, Ulysses Van Frazier, Leslie Harold Funk Jr., Jean Paul Fussy, Michael Dale Gentry, Michael Stephen Gosden, Gerald Charles Griffin, Richard Elmer Hamilton, Robert Wayne Hayes, Richard Michael Heck, James Thomas Hendricks, Raymond Rodriguez Hernandez, Joseph Lee Hoggett, James Newton Holbrook, Robert Harold Holmes, Thomas John Howe, Roger Leroy Hubbard, William Edward Johnson, Jimmy Leroy Johnson, John Lawrence Keaton, James Michael Kelso, Alfred James Kibler, James Henry King, Dennis Edward Cope, Larry Vernon Lake, Ronald Wayne Lee, Charles Edward Lewis, Don William Linthicum, Hector Lopez, Michael Ellesmere Lucas, Jeffrey John Lukey, John Robert Marsh, Richard Leroy Martin, John Bernard Martin II, Carl Otis McCormick, Edward Charles McGrath, Daniel August Miller,
Carrie Dwayne Miller, Joseph Allen Moen, David Lloyd George Moser, Lawrence Thomas Myers, Gerald Owen Norton, Paul Anthony Ostricher, Robert Gary Owen, Gerald Philip Parkle, Donald Gerald Parks, Gerald Wayne Pendle, Stephen Dale Perry, Ronald Edwin Pfeiffer, William Dennis Pinger, Robert George Poria, Willie James Ray, Richard Elvin Richardson, Richard Sines, Christopher Reuben Solly, Tajir Scholier, Danny Jean Shores, Paul Richard Simon, Eldon Wayne Smith, Edgar LaRue Smith, Thomas Earl Springfield, Giles Warren Stollard, Richard Durand Stevens, Melvin Lewis Stone Jr., Howard Dale Strauss, Ruben Bosquez Zuniga, Norman Roger Sweat, Theodore Nelson Takis Jr., Curtis Ray Tarkington,
Franklin Dennis Tinsley, Louis Arthur Trass, Michael Joseph Tony, Miguel Angel Valentin Jr., Carl Horace Wall Jr., Larry Lyle Warbus, John Francis Ward, Franklin Ralph White, Troy Dean Wilhite, Roosevelt Williams, John Vincent Williams Jr., James Eugene Wyndham Jr., Edward William Withy, Richard Ray Young, Frederick Martin Siomick,